Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Maloney. I'm the Director of Public Works for Richland County. The meeting tonight, I want to welcome everybody to the Longreen Parkway Sidewalk Project public meeting. Tonight we have with us our County Council member from District 7, Gretchen Barron. And then we have with us Richland County Engineer Stephen Staley. And from our consulting company for the design, Holt Consulting Company, we have Daniel Atkinson. After their presentation of the project, we'll focus on your questions and concerns. And please enter your questions or concerns in the chat area at any time. Welcome everybody to the Longreen Parkway Sidewalk Project. At this time, I'd like to yield to Councilmember Barron for opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Maloney, and welcome to all of our District 7 constituents in joining us here today. We'd like to say that this is an exciting time for us as we are able to bring forth a project that the staff have been working on for some time, and it was brought to us from you, the citizens. So as you are going out throughout your community and you see some things and you have some concerns, please reach out to us. Let us know. We want to hear from you. It is important as we move forward in the days to come to know that we went through some hard times over the last year and going through COVID-19, but Richland County, especially our public works department, has not stopped working. And we are here to make sure that things go well with us throughout the community. So please tune in. I want to bring to your attention I have two small announcements that I want to share with you. And that is that we at Richland County are looking to fill over 60 vacancies on boards and commissions. And we need willing bodies, people who are ready to serve our community to make it better, to work alongside government. And if that's you and you're interested, please go to our website at richlandcountysc.gov and complete an application and submit it. The deadline is tomorrow to get in for this upcoming phase. So please, ma'am, please, sir, if it's not you, tell a friend, tell a neighbor that at Richland County are looking for some good qualified individuals to volunteer. And then lastly, on this Saturday at Columbia International University, Prisma Health will offer a mobile vaccine unit there for individuals 65 or older or in the 1A category. And I know many of you are so excited about our governor has opened up to a larger number. Those vaccines will not become available until Monday. However, if you're 65 and older, please make an appointment through Prisma Health. You can use they have a dial-in number and an online system that you can register. They will be there from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. And the address to CIU, as we call it, is 7435 Monticello Road. Please get vaccinated, but until then, stay safe, wear your mask. And Mr. Maloney, we'll turn it back over to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up to give us an overview of the project and how the project started is Stephen Staley, County Engineer.
Thank you, Director Maloney. Good evening, everybody. I just want to give you a brief history on how this project came to be. It's a very needed project in this area. The school district came to us about 2 years ago with some concerns about traffic. There's two schools out there. One is the Longleaf Middle School and the other is the Sandlapper Elementary School. Both of these schools together, they have 5 crossing guard locations. And during the morning, afternoon, peak traffic hours, the traffic backs up drastically in both directions. So DPW staff met with the representatives of the school district and came up with a plan to put the sidewalk in, and will reduce the crossing guards needed by 2. So we'll only have to have 3 crossing guards there, and this will really drastically improve the traffic in the area during the peak hours. Also, safety will be a lot better in the area. This project we went to our county transportation committee, requested funding for it, and they saw the need for the project as well, and allocated the funding from their C funds for this project. Once that happened, we went out for a RFQ for engineering services, and Holt Engineering was the most qualified engineering firm for this project. And so we got them on board, and it's took about maybe around 6 months to get it designed and get it all the permits in place. And but went pretty smooth. And at this point, we wanted to let the community know what they're about to see, and then improvements in the area, and how their CTC funds are going to work in the county. Just in saying that, I got behind me here is Gary Barton. He's going to be our inspector. He's here with DPW. He's been in the inspection business a long time with the county, and he's going to be out there watching this construction go in. And that's just a brief overview. I'm going to turn it over to Daniel Atkinson with Holt Engineering. He's going to give a little more detailed explanation of the project, maybe show you some graphics, and then we can take some questions. So, Daniel, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you everyone for being with us tonight. My name is Daniel Atkinson, as Stephen said. I'm with Holt Consulting. We are based here in Columbia, so we are a local firm. Wanted to give you a brief not really a brief, more of a project overview, since Stephen kind of hit the high points. I'll go delve into a little bit more of the detail. I'll share my screen. And there we go. So Longreen Parkway, the sidewalk project, we divided it up into two segments. We have Longreen Parkway South and Longreen Parkway North. The southern portion runs from Clemson Road to Longleaf Middle. It's about 1,600 linear feet. And the northern section runs from just north of Longleaf Middle to Sandlapper Elementary, and that's for about 7,050 linear feet. They differ in that the sidewalk to the south is on the the west side of the road, and the northern segment, the sidewalk is located on the eastern side, since there's already existing sidewalk on the west. So the project starts right here near Clemson Road. The aerial I'm showing is a little outdated. I think people in this area would know that this track right here has been developed. So we are tying in our sidewalk, which is represented by the red box. These little blue lines will be the limits of construction. The dark blue is the area where we will be acquiring new right-of-way. The new right-of-way in certain areas would be for slopes that go outside of existing right-of-way, riprap, which we will need to slow down the water to prevent erosion, extension of pipes, maybe silt fence. That's kind of some of the instances where we will have to have new right-of-way in this area. But as you can see, the sidewalk is on the western side, starting here, and it extends all the way through Landon Place Drive, where it will connect to the existing sidewalk at Longleaf Middle School. One of the other points I'd like to make is, since Stephen mentioned this was a request from the schools, we are going to propose putting back ladder style crosswalks. Ladder style are what you put where schools are located, and they are safer for the pedestrians, the school children, and everything. So we are proposing that. There'll be high visibility. You can see them very well at night as well. They have the, I don't know what they're called, but they kind of sparkle a little bit at night if you shine your lights on it the right way. But we tie into the sidewalk located here at the middle school. And then we are also going to rebuild the existing curb ramps at this crossing, which is, it doesn't have truncated domes or ADA curb ramps. So we're proposing to replace that as well, and put new pavement markings down there as well to make that stand out a little more. Also, part of this project, we are adding a layer of asphalt to the right turn lane into the school only. So this area right here, we will not be resurfacing Longreen Parkway. We will just be adding a lift of asphalt at this location. I think anybody who uses that school right now knows that there's a little drop off. So we're going to mill that a little bit, make it smooth, and then we're going to add a lift of asphalt in that area. So that's kind of the Longreen Parkway South in a nutshell. As I mentioned, it's about 1,600 linear feet. We'll talk about the northern segment. So the northern segment starts on the other side of the school entrance, and as part of that project, we're also going to rebuild the crosswalk in this area and add some curb ramps and some truncated domes. We will also be resurfacing this turn lane as well, just the right turn lane in. We will be putting the sidewalk on the eastern side of the project on this side, since there is already existing on the western side. But we continue oh man, I forgot the name. The ladder style crosswalk throughout this corridor as well, since it connects to Sandlapper Elementary. So we will be getting a new right-of-way from this church right here. We have new riprap, which we need to stabilize ditches for new pipes. So we will be acquiring some new right-of-way in this area as well. I'll move to the next sheet. So this is Roberts Branch, and we will be continuing the sidewalk down through that area. We will decrease the sidewalk in this area to 4 feet for about 100 feet. This is due to environmental impacts, which would be associated with extending the pipe. So we decided that we did not want to impact the wetlands, impact the streams, impact the FEMA floodplain. So we shrunk the sidewalk to 4 feet in this area for 100 feet only to mitigate for those environmental issues. Moving to the north, we cross Cobalt Lane. We will tie into existing sidewalks on Cobalt Lane. We will rebuild the curb ramps at all these locations as well. And this is Spring Park Drive. We will have a curb ramp as well right in this location, which as part of the Spring Park Drive, since this is a three-way stop, we would propose to connect that sidewalk to this project. Moving on down. New right-of-way in this area is due to a new ditch and some new riprap, which is required for sediment and erosion control. Rivendell, rebuilding the curb ramps, adding new crosswalks, new stop bars, and tying into the existing sidewalk in that area as well. And then we will go here and continuing north, we'll resurface, not resurface, we will restripe this existing crosswalk at Mason Ridge and Longreen. Some new right-of-way here as well. We are trying to avoid all development signs and irrigation. We may have some small impacts, and if there are some impacts, we will coordinate those with the property owners during construction to try to get them relocated or try to design something so we don't impact these areas. At Falls Mill Lane, we add new curb ramps, new ladder style crosswalk, new stop bar. We continue north. For this area, we have to acquire new right-of-way because we have to make sure the water flows back towards the south, and we need to steepen up our ditches and also add some erosion control measures like silt fence and turf reinforcement matting to slow the velocities and prevent erosion. We extend north all the way to Longtown Road where our project ends. There is an existing sidewalk we will tie into in this area. And we will also be resurfacing this turn lane into Sandlapper, which you can't see, but it's the same situation which occurred at Longleaf Middle, where there's a drop off. So we'll be adding a lift to surface course as well to that area. So that's kind of the overview, kind of a more detailed, down in the weeds, plan view of the corridor. We'll show you kind of some sample illustrations of the typical section, which is what it would look like. So this is Longreen Parkway to the south from Clemson Road to Longleaf Middle. You have your 3-lane roadway, and you'd have your new sidewalk on the western side of the project. Moving to the north, Longreen Parkway to the north. This is pretty much the exact same traffic configuration. 3 lanes to the north, except we have the new sidewalk on the eastern side of the corridor. Another thing that Stephen mentioned is the school crossing guards. As part of this project, we are adding some special signs and flashing lights for the school zones, which the county will end up operating and maintaining in the future. The flashing lights are called TAPCO, flashing yellow bulbs. So we'll be installing those, 4 of those throughout the project corridor, and that will be taken care of during construction. I don't think there's anything else. One other tidbit: this is not an SCDOT maintained road. This is a county maintained road. So we will not have to acquire SCDOT encroachment permits. And I kind of think that's all I had, Stephen and Mike. Is there anything else you wanted me to address?
I don't know about Stephen, but I do have questions here. I can read some of the questions that have come in.
Okay.
And I think you may have covered some of them in the presentation. I will read them in full. ADA guidelines recommend 5-foot wide sidewalk, and that's what SCDOT does as much as possible on new projects. Although the Parkway is county owned, why not follow current ADA guidelines instead of 4-foot wide? And I believe you pointed out that we are putting in 5-foot, but there is a stretch with environmental concerns.
Yes, there are actually 2 stretches. There's one, like I said, at Roberts Branch, where we figured it was better environmentally to reduce the sidewalk down to 4 feet. That would prevent us from lengthening. I think there's about 8 84-inch or 60-inch crossline pipes of this. So it would prevent us from lengthening those, which in turn would have negative impacts on wetlands and streams. So we shrunk the sidewalk down to 4 feet in this area to mitigate for those environmental impacts. There's also an area I forgot to mention right here at the beginning of the project. We reduced the sidewalk width down to 4 feet here as well, in order to prevent us from having to lengthen these pipes. There's about 4 crossline pipes at this location as well. We do have to get new right-of-way, but there were wetlands here, and we did not have to, we have to get a wetland permit for the riprap, not extension of the pipes. So that we are following ADA guidelines, and ADA allows you to reduce the sidewalk, or SCDOT allows you to reduce the sidewalk width to 4 feet for a maximum length of 200 feet. At the 200-foot length, you have to have a bump out, but we are a 100-foot segment, so we do not have to do that.
Okay, I'm going to continue with the participants' questions. Where specifically on the plans will the flashing school zone signs be located? And then it's also, is the plan to retrofit the current curbs to meet the latest standard? Or will all of the curb ramps be ripped up and replaced with new ones? So I guess first with the school zone light locations.
Mm-hmm. So the first TAPCO speed sign will go right around this area in Landon Place. It'll go on the northbound side. So that'll be number 1. The next one will go in this area on the southbound side of Longreen Parkway. and that'll be for the traveling public on the south. And then we have two more, trying to find the exact locations. The next one. The next one will go in this area, right after Vineyards Crossing on the northbound side. And the last one will go off of our sheet in this location for the southbound side of Longreen Parkway. As for the curb ramps and standards, the where we are, we will be putting down new ADA compliant curb ramps, and where we have to rip out existing curb, we will be ripping it out. But for the most part, we should be, everything should be built to current ADA standard, and we'll just be able to retrofit where available. But we may have to rip some sidewalk out to replace it and put new curb ramps in it and truncated domes down.
Okay. This question, maybe engineering can participate here with Mungo building new townhomes across from the Longreen and Spring Park intersection. Are you requiring them to add a stop sign to make the intersection a four-way stop?
That would be, I can check on that. Our new development staff handles all the new construction for subdivisions. And I can definitely, I don't know the answer to that right now, but I can definitely check on it and provide an answer later.
Okay. We heard that at Spring Road with the new development of townhomes, there would be a roundabout.
I don't know of any plans for a roundabout there at this time. So I'm not sure about that question.
Okay, so on questions that we maybe need to look into, we will post on the county website our Q&A results and with a little more research that might be needed for some of them.
Mr. Maloney?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you speak to timeframes at this point?
For the project to occur?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. That was our next one. We did have that from Thomas to Alpanos. What is the start and completion dates for the project? So we are at near final plan. Obviously, we want to take input that we hear tonight, and then maybe I'll turn it over to Steve and Staley to talk about bidding and then construction.
Yes, sir. We expect to have this project go out to bid within the next 30 days for a construction contract. And once that happens, it probably would be another 30 days before the construction can actually start. So it's March, April, sometime in May, I would think we could get construction kicked off. And I'll let Daniel correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we would be looking at maybe 6-month construction period.
I believe they can get it done in 4 to 6 months. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Without
Yes.
the pipes that we're proposing, they should be able to get it done 4 to 6 months. Yes.
Okay.
So we should be done if we get in May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Hopefully by the end of the year, we could be done with it if we get good weather.
Okay. DPW is going to ask a question. Will the construction be mostly during when school is out? So you tend to start it, it sounds like, but you're saying part of it could continue into the school.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it'll be a constant process through that time period.
Okay. Patrick Keefe has information here. perhaps a vote. I'm glad we finally have a school zone flashing lights. I've been asking about this for years. It's easy to forget about a school zone if you typically drive through the outside of those, times. And then from Pamela Williams, will you need to relocate fire hydrants, especially near Roberts Branch?
I'll let Daniel answer that, but I believe we are relocating some fire hydrants.
Yes, we will be required to move some fire hydrants due to their location in regard to the new sidewalk. As well as a few existing signs in that area. There's some object marker signs. We'll have to take those up and push them back towards the right of way as well.
Okay. This is from Patrick Keefe. Sorry for being late, but will we have a new tax to pay for this project?
No, sir. This project is funded totally through the C Fund, which is already the gas tax for the county and the state. So no new tax.
Thank you. And this from Pamela Williams. Thanks for the improvements. I have a couple of questions. Will access to any of the side streets be hindered during construction?
No, there may be some temporary flagging / barrels or cones, but for the most part, no, we're going to maintain all access to all drives, all side roads at all time during construction. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay. And then who will be responsible for maintaining the grass strip between the sidewalk and the road?
Since this is a county maintained road, Stephen, I can't speak for the county. I'm sorry.
Right. Yes, sir. So typically the property owners adjacent to the grass takes care of it. But if need be, the county would come in and take care of it, make sure it doesn't get out of hand. A lot of the area on Longreen is the adjacent properties are homeowners associations that are already really nicely manicured with sprinklers and very nice things, plantings and flowers, and so I expect that it wouldn't be out of the question. They would probably do it without asking. But if there was some areas that naturally trees that grow in the woods were to happen to hang over, get to where they're hanging over the sidewalk, our public works crews would come in and trim those. But trees put in by the homeowners association, they're usually the ones responsible for keeping them maintained.
Okay, I have a question in from the Q&A. Hello, I live in Ivy Square. I would like to know if we might get a highlighted crosswalk because getting across the street is very difficult. I was almost hit several times. Wanted to be assaulted because I was in a crosswalk and had not seen. So Ivy Squared, we have a close-up of that.
I'm on mute. It looks like it's across from Cobalt. We can add a new crosswalk, I believe, to this because there's already one there. We can add that to the plans, and it would be the ladder style crosswalk as well, and it would connect from this location to this location.
Okay, good. And then how many miles is the entire project?
It's 1,600 linear feet to the south and 7,050 to the north for about 1.64 miles.
Okay. That was from Mr. Tony, and I guess the prior one was from Miss Dickens. Miss Etheridge asks, since the road is being widened, how much of the homeowner's property is being taken?
We are not widening the roadway. We are just placing new sidewalk on the grass area to the outside. The existing pavement will remain in place. It will not be widened.
The sidewalk is going in the public right of way, correct?
Correct. The
And
new sidewalk will be inside of existing right of way throughout the whole corridor.
Right, and then there's areas going back to your plan view map that shows some blue areas that are little blocks of blue. Those represent areas where there is some property acquisition needed to provide for sloping and such. You had mentioned in the presentation, but that's the limits of it is what's shown in blue in areas.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And then Mr. Everett McElrath asks, is there prioritization for where the construction will begin, which end? Could connecting Landon Place Drive with the sidewalk that ends at Longleaf Middle School be a priority? And then he says, students in Landon Place are currently walking to and from school with no sidewalk.
Yes, sir. I believe we could put that in once we have a contractor on board. We could talk about the phasing of the project, but I don't see where that would be a problem unless, Daniel, you see an issue with that.
I do not.
Okay, I see notes. Since there's a lot of, this from Clifton Sellers, since there's a lot of pedestrian traffic on this road, wouldn't it be a good idea to upgrade all crosswalks to the ladder style crosswalk?
For the most part, we are upgrading all crosswalks except at Spring Park. I think that would probably be handled during the Spring Park sidewalk project, which will be coming up soon. But for the most part, on where we are designing the new sidewalk, we are replacing the crosswalks and upgrading the existing crosswalks.
Okay, there was one that would be added that was mentioned.
I'm gonna add one at Landon Place. Wait, no, Ivy Square and Falls Mill Lane. I'm gonna add three of them. I'm sorry. Right here at Cobalt, right here at Falls Mill, and then right here at Vineyard Crossing.
Okay. And then if you want to go back to the drawing that showed the intersection for the upcoming project. Spring Park Drive, so that's a project that's going into design, just would be starting soon once it's contracted through the administration of the county, but that is a sidewalk that goes up. Is it one side, Stephen, or?
Just one side, yes, sir.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, that was just approved by county council to start the engineering on Tuesday night.
Very good. Okay. Any other questions out there? Okay, well, I definitely thank everyone for their participation. You've given some new insights into some areas that notes have been taken that will be adjusted. I think what we'd like to do is provide these PDFs too on the website with those adjustments on them so people can see what changes were made. And definitely appreciate that. New information in, is it possible to get a copy of the slides? Yes, we'll post this on the county website. We are also live streaming to YouTube for your reference to go back to this. So it will be a recording on the county's YouTube channel. Another question came in, as a homeowner in Spring Park, how far will the sidewalk go along Spring Park Drive?
All the way to Hobart. It's gonna, from what I remember, I think it goes all the way to Hobart Road.
It was a fairly long reach, yes. And then Jason Enoch, any improvements to the sidewalk distance being so close to the road between Landon Station and Ivy Square?
Mute again, sorry. I'm not really sure of the question. We are going to be adding new sidewalk, and it will be 3 feet off of the existing roadway in this area.
Okay.
Trying to pull up the plans right now and verify that, but it's pretty consistent until you get down to the entrance, and then we jog out to tie into the existing sidewalk.
That'd be west. That's west, yeah. All the
Okay.
way to all the way. We have crosswalks.
Brenda Moss asked a question. Your plan does not show the new construction that is occurring on the west side of Longreen behind Ivy Square across from Spring Park Drive. Are you aware of the project? Your design shows trees that have been removed.
West side. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out where I am, and then I'll answer.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Transaction is occurring on the west side of Longreen behind Ivy Square. Unfortunately, we don't have, I guess, updated aerial photography right now. This was just what was available. So there is a good possibility that the trees, as you mentioned, are not correct. However, we are staying inside of the existing county right of way. So it should not have any impact on new construction on that side.
Yeah, and these are presentation level. You do have, the project was surveyed and was designed. It's on engineered plans for construction.
Correct. And we're also on the east side of Longreen Parkway in that area. So we should be all right.
Okay. Question came in, which side of the road on Spring Park Drive, left or right?
I believe it's going to be on the, as you turn on to Spring Park, it's going to be on the left side.
That's correct.
And but we haven't designed it yet, so that may change. But I believe the intent is for it to be on the left-hand side or west. I think that is.
Okay. Question from an attendee, will signs be put up for drivers to yield to pedestrians in all crosswalks? There's a terrible problem with speeding along Longreen Parkway. Thanks.
That's, we are not putting them as part of our project. That's something that typically goes in, based on my experience, where you have shared use pathways and greenways, which are more bicycle and pedestrian friendly. This is going to be a 5-foot sidewalk, and you know, we're not going to add that as part of this project. But you know, we can definitely discuss with the county and see if they want those added to the plans.
Okay. We will have whatever is required for the school area crossings. When do you, so from Clifton Sellers, when do you anticipate meeting with the property owners about right-of-way purchases?
Yes, our right-of-way agent has started that process. He's gathering all the exhibits so that when he does meet with the citizens and the property owners, that he'll have a picture of what it's going to look like. So they'll be, you know, more able to tell what's going on. But that started last week.
And this from Leroy Scott, will there be any temporary red lights during the project?
No, sir.
Is that, well, we don't have signals, but, you know, I guess kind of a question I would have for a project like this, will there be any lane closures or inconveniences for Longreen Parkway or the side streets during construction?
There may be some temporary lane closures during construction activities. That would be for safety reasons for the construction workers who will be working and pouring the new concrete sidewalk. You know, there'll be flagmen out there, I would anticipate, following SCDOT standards and specifications, with flagman cones, maybe some barrels, just to shift the traffic around a little bit. Thankfully, we have the median out there. So traffic should always be maintained. 2 lanes of traffic should always be maintained during construction. And you may have to shift over a little bit to get in the median, but you should be able to shift right back.
It appeared where you have paving for turn lanes, wherever there's a independent left turn lane in the middle, i.e. the 3-lane areas, we could shift, the contractor could come up with a plan to utilize that temporarily to shift vehicles over and away from certain intersections or even center block areas. But there was a couple that you had pointed out that may not have that center turn lane, or it's being used as a dedicated turn lane, so that we may have some areas where construction timing needs to be considered and things like that. Okay, question from Gene Craig. Has a survey been done of sprinkler systems so they're not damaged during the process?
We did do a survey in this area and picked up what we could find on the ground. We did pick up some sprinklers. I did not note many that were being impacted as part of the project, but I know there are some in this area because I walked it. But from what I remember, they did not appear to be impacted by this project.
Yeah, and you mentioned in the presentation, you know, maybe it was a specific area where you would coordinate with HOAs on that particular issue, I believe.
Right. If during construction, something like that arises where it looks like there will be an impact, we'll make sure that the contractor is aware of that. Villages at Long.
Okay.
We'll make sure, I'm looking at the question that just came in. We'll make sure that the contractor is coordinating with the engineer and Gary, as Stephen said, he'll be the inspector, to make sure that if an issue arises, we can be on site to review it and make any recommendations to hopefully avoid it. But if there are impacts to a sprinkler system and it is within the right of way, it may have to be moved and relocated since it is within right of way.
Will the project cover that relocation?
Yes, we have allocation for utility relocations. And also if we hit something unknown to us, we'll have it repaired. The contractor will repair it.
Okay. And then from Gene Craig, just pointing out villages at Longtown HOA has a sprinkler system all along the Parkway. And then from Hattie Etheridge, getting out of Ivy Square is always a big problem. With the new development next to Ivy Square and the new hospital opening in the spring area, are there plans? Are there any plans for any type of traffic lights along this roadway?
No plans at this time.
And I just want to say that, you know, if this particular project wouldn't cover that type of work, but if there is any problem or impact that we need to look at because of development, that's something that we would want to address early on, and we would appreciate your input on that. And I think we'll take a look at Ivy Square and the development going on in that area. Then from Rodney, county officials, please re-review and compare Mungo's plans for the townhomes they're currently building at Spring Park and Longreen intersection to ours. So there's no sidewalk duplication at that intersection.
We'll do. We'll double check that.
And also, if we find anything that is on their plans, we want it to the standards that we're using for the school there. Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for your input again, and definitely, you know, thank Councilmember Barron for her input and words at the beginning of this. And if you have any closing remarks, feel free. But we enjoy this ability to still get public input using this media that we have. And thank you all for your input.
Yeah, so Mr. Maloney, thank you to your staff for definitely your diligence in ensuring that this project not only happens, but it happens in a way of excellence and we're excited about these sidewalks coming to this much needed area. And as I stated before, you know, as you're driving throughout District 7 or throughout Richland County, we can't make any promises that we can, you know, fix it all. But what we can do is pay attention to the things that are brought to us so that we can continue to strive for excellence here in Richland County. Thank you all so much for joining. Stay tuned. We will, we definitely will be having more informative sessions across our district so that you can stay in the know about things that are coming. And instead of reading about it in the paper, you can have a firsthand experience with myself and the staff of Richland County. So again, thank you, Mr. Maloney. Job well done. I'm excited. I can't wait